Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Now I mentioned in the previous Gran Turismo video that I am not great at rally racing, but today we have to do it anyway. We have 6 rally races to do. Thankfully the first 3 are not actually dirt rallies. The first one is at Tokyo Expressway, and we'll still be using rally cars though. We're going to be using, I think for the most part, the Audi Quattro that you just saw on screen there. And yeah, like I said, we're heading to the Tokyo Expressway. It's going to be a fairly lengthy race though. It's a 10-lap race here, so these are pretty long events, probably going to require a pit stop or two as well, so plenty to do in these ones. So without further ado, we should probably just get started. So yeah, here we go, the World Rally Challenge at Tokyo Expressway, central clockwise. Let's get into it. Away we go then for the first rally race of the video, and let's see how this goes. Yeah, first time driving this car, and my goodness, is it skatey. I don't know how we even somewhat got away with that, but anyway, very much on the snappy side is this car. We'll have to be a little bit more careful in how we try to control this thing. But it's Tokyo Expressway, and that can only mean one thing, but we'll get to that. First up, we need to try and make a little bit of progress. We have good straight line speed as we get very sideways again. So this car, seriously, on the snappy side. I don't know how we're managing to even save it from these slides, but something we're going to have to get used to as we try and fit around the outside here. And we'll just glide up along the wall there, and that'll help us make the corner there. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty rough race, this one, I think, as we're trying to gain ground on the car in front. Let's see if we can make a move somewhere along the next straight. We have good straight line speed, which makes overtaking a little easier as we try and go around the outside, grazing the wall there. But we get through and move ourselves up into 9th position as we continue to fight our way through the field around the outside into 8th position now. So steady progress, but progress nonetheless. And we don't need to rush it too much in terms of how quickly we need to get through the field. We have plenty of time on our side, so we can be a little bit more measured in how we do things. As I say that, we go pounding into the wall around the outside, but we get away with it and we move ourselves up another couple of spots and into 6th position now. So still making our way through the field well as we're closing into the top 5, and we tried to find some space there. That door closed as soon as we got there, but we opened it back up again and made our way through. Moving on then, we soon catch up to a few more cars as we go bouncing off the wall once again. We'll see if we can get to the inside of the GTR. We push him a little bit deep into that corner. That helps us make our way through. We're up into now 4th position as we'll get up into 3rd in a straight line. And now we're on the podium. Just 2 cars left in front of us as we're again struggling, even with these slight little corners. And they're the ones that are actually causing the big problems, because these cars are rally cars, are made to be dealing with bumps, not sort of relatively flat highways. So when you hit the brakes, the jelly suspension kind of really upsets the balance of the car. So yeah, that's becoming a bit of an issue throughout this one. We go grinding along the wall there, gives us a nice exit, and we'll make our way past and up into P2 as oh, that's not ideal. We've 360'd it and we'll keep it going just about there, but we'll lose 2nd place for a moment. We'll try and keep the fight going around the outside, and we'll maintain a 2nd position. Another slight braking zone there, and honestly, the walls are the most convenient way of trying to maintain control of the car. It is so ridiculously snappy when you hit the brakes. All the weight shifts to the front wheels, and there's just no ability to control it. And old mate in the same car as us in the lead of the race at the moment as we're trying to close the gap. We're managing to do so as we try and make our way through, and we'll look to the right hand side, and as we make our way past, we make our way into 1st position, and hopefully we can maintain this for the rest of the race. Another big slide there, but we still maintain the position. We continue on And on lap 4, we're now just using the walls to try and rush our way through this race, but we do need to make a pit stop, and of course we'll be sticking the racing soft compound tyres on, and yeah, they will take us a bit further into this race. We can't make it to the end from here, so this will be a two-stopper for us, and if anyone goes on for longer, which it looks like a few people are, we will need to re-overtake them at some point. But car is now filled up with fuel and we're underway once again, so let's see how the second stint goes. At the moment we sit in 5th position. We soon catch up to a group of cars. We've got 3 immediately in front of us, and we've got a GTR, a Mustang and an NSX. 3 cars I wouldn't necessarily take rallying. The GTR maybe. It is 4-wheel drive. Not sure how I feel about a Mustang rally car. That just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. But anyway, we get past the 3 of them and move ourselves up into 2nd position as we go for a monumental slide there. We managed to save it, and that's one thing about this car, is when it does slide out of control, it is very much sort of savable if you have the track space to save it. It's not, you know, just guaranteed to keep sliding into a spin or yeah, anyway, it's very much a controllable slide if the speed is right, as it was there. But anyway, we've moved ourselves into the lead now as the race leader made their way into the pit lane, so we just keep pushing on. We need to make one more pit stop, so we can't relax yet. Moving on again then to the end of lap number 8, and it's time for us to make our second of 2 pit stops. Of course, once again we'll be moving on to another set of soft compound tyres, and this time we do not need a full refuel. In fact, we don't even need half a refuel. You can see the little marker there just to the left of the center point on the fuel gauge at the bottom of the screen. That is the required fuel to get to the end. So we could have stopped it just after that. We put actually a bunch extra in, but anyway, regardless, we should actually come back out onto the track in the lead, so no issue for us. We can just push on to the end, and that we do as we come across the line to finish in 1st position here at the end of the first event. The what was it? The World Rally Challenge at Tokyo Expressway Center Clockwise. That's what it was. Job done. Let's just move on to the next one. But first, we have a 4-star roulette ticket to spin, so let's see what we get from this one. And oh, okay. One of these little ticket things to buy special cars that are way too expensive for me to afford at the moment, so basically we win nothing. Alrighty. Back to the racing. So the next race is at Trial Mountain, a circuit I am very much familiar with, so this one should be an absolute breeze. Oh jeez, okay, well that's a great start. We've already done a 360 before making it through the first corner. Anyway, let's see if we can make up for that as we head now through turn 3, and we've already made our way up into 9th position despite this 360 spin, so not too bad, but yeah, you guys still learn to control this machine. Still, it's absolutely wild, this car, honestly. A lot of horsepower, a lot of grip, but the stability, not so much. Anyway, we're still struggling in 9th position with just trying to... It's weird. This car, it feels like it wants to turn in, and then sometimes it kind of just doesn't at the same time. So, yeah, that's another kind of tricky thing to manage. The initial turn in feels really good, and then it just sort of suddenly stops. That's the best way I can describe it. Anyway, we're absolutely rocketing down the straight, and we'll gain a spot or 2 here along the run up to the next left-hander. Let's see if we can gain maybe one more in the braking zone. Late on the brakes, we'll try and get the nose up the inside, and we'll force the issue and make our way through, and potentially get a couple more on the exit as well. So all of that's moved us up further, and a bit of contact there as we're pushing the next guy through. We have to take it nice and carefully through here. Very tricky part of the circuit in a car that does behave the way you want it, let alone in an absolute monster like this thing. But we get through there reasonably well, actually, and with the overtakes we've moved ourselves up into 7th position, so making decent progress in this one. Let's continue to try and work our way through. A bit of a shortcut there, as we're now trying to line up a good exit. Very slow for the group of cars in front of us there, all fighting away and holding each other up. We've got the straight line speed now, and all of that fighting for them has cost them all on the exit, moved us up into 4th position, they may be even 3rd position, as we now head into turn 1 for the 2nd time in this race. We've had a fantastic start, so let's see if we can keep this going as we now move ourselves up into 2nd as we go around the outside, and now we need to chase down the race leader. They've opened up a gap to the rest of the field, so let's go chase them down. And by the end of the back straight on that lap, we do catch up to the race leader, go down on the stripes to try and get a nice run through the corner, and we'll try and get some good momentum on the outside. Bit of contact made as we head into the right-hander, but we'll make our way into the lead. Not sure if that's an okay part of the racetrack to use. The AI don't go down there, but in driving missions and license tests, it seems fine to use that part of the racetrack. So, you know, the game kind of tells you to, but the AI don't use it. Very strange. But anyway, we continue on then to the end of lap 5, and right at the last minute, we spot the pit lane and decide to come in for our one and only pit stop in this race. And you can see we won't need quite a full refuel. We probably will anyway, but we'll need to just go just past the 80% mark, and that will be enough fuel to get us to the end. A new set of tyres, of course, as well, as we head towards the box. This is a rather long pit lane here at Trial Mountain, and we actually can't see our car travelling along, so we're just waiting until it shows up. Here we go. It's always actually quite concerning on that screen, because you don't really have much indication of what's going on. But anyway, what is going on now? New tyres are going on the car. Now fuel is going in the car, and it won't be long before we get racing once again for the latter half of this race. And I think I'll say it once again, this is a case of if I turn the difficulty up more than what I have right now, the AI are too fast, but on this difficulty setting they're too slow. So yeah, we've had that little issue come up again in this one, because we're leading this one rather easily. But anyway, we'll continue to push on, and we'll see what happens. And what happens is honestly not a lot. We move on to the final lap, where we cross the line to take first place by a chunky margin. And yeah, we probably did have difficulty set a little low for this one, but it doesn't matter. The race is done, which means we can move on to the next one, the third and final tarmac rally, if you want to call it that, before we move on to the gravel stuff. So yeah, let's just get into it. And the final race in this little trio of races is at Willow Springs. So that's brilliant. Circuit I've just never ever been able to click with. And combined with a car that is afraid of its own shadow, that is an inevitable combination of as many spins. So we'll hopefully get away with it, but we'll see how it goes. I have been slowly getting used to this car, so maybe we'll be able to handle it. Let's see. We've already made a couple of spots throughout the first lap so far, moved ourselves up 2 positions and into 10th. So yeah, it's been an okay start. We'll see if we can take any more here, as we're coming up to a straighter section of the circuit where this car does tend to shine. We grab 9th place, and soon we'll grab 8th position. As we try and find the space, we'll go to the inside, and we'll take 8th position. Got a trio. That's exactly what I was concerned about driving this car, and that part of the circuit, that's always going to be. And oh my goodness, we've been rear-ended as well, just for good measure, as we re-enter the circuit there. But we're back down into 10th position, but 2 places gained on the first lap nonetheless. Further on into lap 2, we'll go for the move down the inside as we catch a whole train of cars. We move ourselves up into 9th position as we now try to look to the left, move ourselves up into 8th, and we may grab 7th as well as we end up a little bit in the sand there and we'll just continue to charge our way through the field. 6th place now as we continue to push our way through. We've got 3rd place not far up the road. We go around the outside. That moves us up into 5th position. Can we grab 4th on the exit? Can we even grab 3rd with the straight line speed? Let's see, bit of a twitch on the exit. The straight line speed will help us take 4th position and eventually 3rd as we now set our sights on P2, also not too far up the road, as well as the race leader. So the top 2 spreading out a little more than the rest, but still all very much within reach. So we need to deal with the 2nd place car as quickly as possible to not let the race leader get too far ahead. They do have a similar car to us, so yeah, they have very good pace. But anyway, we'll make the move down the inside, and we'll position ourselves into 2nd now. So that has been a great opening few laps for us, other than that one little incident on lap 1. But with the race leader now in sight, we have a clear goal in mind. So let's see if we can make the overtake somewhere by the end of this lap. We may have a bit of an issue. We just had a moment there, and bouncing up on 2 wheels over the curbs, that's cost us a lot of momentum and the chance to overtake for the moment. The chance will soon rise again though, as we're already on the back of the race leader. As we begin the very next lap, we'll have a look down the inside into turn 1, and we'll get the move done long before we actually get there, and we will move ourselves up and into the race lead now. We just need to make sure we hold on to it and don't make any mistakes, because mistakes around this circuit are incredibly punishing. It's probably one of the least forgiving circuits in terms of making mistakes, because if you touch that sand at high speed on the outside of the corners, you just get carried wider and wider, and it's just an all around a very painful time. So minimizing mistakes and making sure we get to the end cleanly is the goal from here. Unfortunately, as we continue on though, that's not exactly how things have played out. Big mistake there, and running in way too deep, and that's going to cost us a whole bunch of time, as now I'm just completely lost. We eventually find the track again, not without some obstacles in the way though, and we'll eventually slide sideways down the sandbank back onto the road, and that puts us down into 5th position after that mistake. So we now have to do all of that work again. But before we have the chance to re-overtake anyone, we have to make our pit stop now on lap number 5. We'll be going on to another set of the soft compound tyres, of course, and as far as fuel goes, we don't need to put too much in, so it'll be a relatively short stop, as we will actually cut off the refueling at the right moment this time, and we'll continue on our way. And that's dropped us down into 11th position, so we're in 2nd last. But with everyone else, I think, still yet to make stops, we'll see how it plays out in the end. As we continue on, you can see many other drivers making their pit stops in this one, and as they all come filing out back onto the racetrack, we find ourselves in 4th position, so we've gained a spot there with the undercut, with the contact, as we try and switch things back through turn 1, and we move ourselves up into 3rd. 2nd place now right in front of us as well. We'll go around the outside, and we'll get that move done rather easily too, and that moves us up into P2. We move on then to the penultimate lap of the race. It has taken us a while to catch up to the to the race leader rather, and we'll find our way through, just about giving him a little push through there, but nonetheless we make the move. Let's not go too deep here, borderline there, but we'll get away with it. We're still in 2nd position, fighting this one out. Inside line here for the right-hander, and we should be able to make it stick there, and we do, and we move ourselves up into 1st place. Bit of a odd moment there as we have to go cutting across the inside. We don't run wide though, that's the critical thing, and we maintain 1st position. On to the end of the race then, and we will come across the line to take victory in the 3rd and final race of the World Rally Challenge. And now we can say goodbye to the tarmac. 3 dirt races are coming up next. That's going to be fun. Let's do it. So these next 3 races are the Dirt Champions races. So we'll see how this goes. I'm certainly not a dirt champion, but we'll see. These are actually one-on-one races, which can make things a little bit easier because we only have one opponent to worry about. So if we can just get ahead and just basically block them at every opportunity, that can work for us. You can see we're biffing and barging our way through. But to move on to the point of why this race was so difficult, somehow or other we would always end up in the pit lane, and we now spin a roulette ticket because this race took so many attempts that we got one of these before I actually won the race. So from this roulette ticket, the reason I'm actually making a point about this, it was a 1-star roulette ticket, and we got a racing car, the Mazda Roadster touring car, so that's actually a very good car coming out of a 1-star roulette ticket. I've had much worse prizes from roulette tickets worth many more stars than that. But anyway, yeah, that is cool. So yeah, that is a new one for our collection. It's worth 90,000 credits. So that kind of shows you how good that is from a 1-star roulette ticket, the lowest level of ticket. But anyway, we go now for the Dirt Champions race at Sardinia. Let's see how this one goes as we try to make the move around the outside and give us the inside with a slight left-hander, and that does move us up into the lead as we had to push our way through there. First place is now ours, and what we need to do here is try and just drive as a cleaner race as possible and not have too many collisions with walls and rocks and other various obstacles around this circuit. So we'll see how it goes, but at the moment we've had a near perfect start. Front wheels off the ground, into the wall though, and now all over the place, out of control. We do straighten things up eventually, but we've lost the lead, and now we're going to have to try very hard to get it back. And in fact, we have to move on to the final lap before we get an opportunity to take the lead. We try and bash our way past, that doesn't really work out too well for us, and we remain in second position as we try to make the move around the outside, give us the inside for this left-hander, but we can't get there. We need to try and take this position very much early on this lap because we have a very high chance of having an incident at the final corner. It's happened on previous laps, so we want to make sure we can get a bit of a buffer there before we get to that point of the circuit. Here is where we are semi-strong based on how many times I've been through these corners in the license test, but we're behind at the moment, and bouncing off the wall there isn't going to help us out too much, but we do eventually make the move somehow and get ahead now into this little left section here. We've only got about 5 corners left on the circuit, so we're in the right position at the right time, and we just need to take it easy, make sure we don't make any mistakes. And now here is the part of the circuit that's been causing me more issues than any other, so we're just going to probably take this relatively easy. Front wheels off the ground sideways as we head towards the line, all over the place, but we straighten things out and cross the line in first position, and we take victory here in the Dirt Champions race at Sardinia. And that's 1 of 3 done. On to the next one, Colorado Springs. But first, another little distraction. We're going to be buying a car from the Legends dealership now, and if you know what this car is, you'll know what it's known for. It's basically the car that made AMG famous, and it's quite a cool car. I actually do really like the look of this thing, and we'll be using it in something I have planned in the near future. But that's all I'll say for now. We get going for the second Dirt Champions race, and this one is at Colorado Springs, as I mentioned. So yeah, we'll see how this one goes. We've switched cars to the Subaru WRX. Not sure what the major differences are, other than this one being much newer. I don't know how differently it's going to handle the bumps and corners and straights and everything else, but we will see. Seems pretty good so far. It feels much more controlled, this car. The other car, you're constantly fighting it and trying to force it into different directions, whereas this car feels a lot more smooth, I suppose. And that's a great pause menu, great gameplay here. Anyway, yeah, this car feels just a bit more intuitive, I suppose, in the way you drive it. Whether the ultimate pace of the Audi Quattro is there, not consistent enough to be able to test that one out, but I would imagine the Audi Quattro, being a Pikes Peak car, may have more pace, at least in ideal circumstances. But anyway, we're continuing to fight away, and we haven't quite managed to maintain the lead on this occasion. Bit of push and shove as we try and get to the inside. Bit of a contact there, into the wall for them, into the wall for us, and the battling continues as we're still side by side. And we've caused our own issue there, but we managed to maintain the race lead, and we'll see. But that's the first lap of the race led for us. Let's hope that this can continue. And believe it or not, that actually does continue on, and we do manage to maintain the lead until the final lap, where we do lose it once again. So it's just my luck, isn't it? But we're over the jump. We'll see if we can get a good run on the exit as we run through the right-hander, and now we will get the position back. But we'll see if this can stand. We don't have too much left in this race, so we need to make sure we remain ahead for as well as possible, basically. But we're under a lot of pressure here. They look up the inside, making a bit of contact, but they're forcing the way through. Now we need to do the same. This is the final corner. We force our way back through, and carrying the momentum through there. Now towards the line. We'll cross the line in first position and take victory here at Colorado Springs. And that's a race victory number 2 in the Dirt Champions races for us. Only one left, but it's the big one. Fisherman's Ranch. Before that though, we have time for another roulette ticket. You can tell how long these races are taking me, given that we've had 3 daily marathon tickets in the meantime, and this one is the worst by far. 3-star ticket, and we get 5,000 credits for it, as opposed to a 90,000 credits car from a 1-star ticket that we got earlier. Shows you how random it is. But anyway, we go for the final race, Fisherman's Ranch. This one is going to be tough. Fisherman's Ranch is an incredibly long circuit, very rough, massive jumps, sharp corners. It's really got it all. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. And so let's see how it goes. Fighting side by side already in this one, banging wheels, banging doors, banging walls, banging everything in sight in this race as we try and get a nice switch back through there. Actually works out wonderfully for us as they tried to make the move up the inside, running a little deep, and now we've found the barriers and lost the lead. So let's see if we can get that back. Another collision, losing a lot of momentum there and dropping further and further back. So we need to try and contain these mistakes and try and close the gap up once again as we continue to bounce off the walls. Sometimes they can be helpful, sometimes not so much. That time we actually did seem to gain a little time, but there's no room for practice because this race is only 1 lap long. Shows how long the circuit is as we get up the inside and make our way up into the race lead once again. We'll see if this can stand for any length of time as we find the barriers there on the exit. Now trying to keep things under control through a tighter section here, but it's such a difficult track, this, and not knowing what's coming up next is a major issue, as you can see there. But we're just about doing enough and holding on to the race lead at the moment. We'll see if this can continue on, but right now we are doing enough, so we just need to take things carefully and make sure we are not making any critical mistakes, and we should be able to maintain the lead here. Looks like we're actually doing a decent job compared to the previous races, despite not really knowing the circuit. We are actually holding our ground pretty well. Up on 2 wheels though there, and that will lose us the lead, unfortunately, losing a lot of momentum there. So that's a little unfortunate one, but we'll see if we can gain some of that time back as we head now into the left-hander up the hill. And this is it's a really cool circuit. I do like the circuit. It would actually be fun to learn it. There are a couple of really nice corners, and that's one of them. But yeah, it's such a a long circuit, and as I keep saying, rally driving isn't my thing, so yeah, it's not going to be a particularly easy one. But anyway, that's a big old jump there. But we managed to land relatively straight, and that's good enough for us. We can continue to push on. We're back into the race lead now, so let's see if we can maintain this for the rest of the one and only lap in this race. Not going to happen. Down the inside they go. Oh, we found the barriers on the exit, and that's cost us even more time. So we're back down into second position, but now we have a car in front of us to use as a guide. So let's see how this goes as we head over the big jump. This is going to be a rough landing. We managed to keep things steady though. That's important. Barge down the inside, and that's aggressive. That's very aggressive, but it's given us the position back, and it's getting to a critical point now because we are coming up to the end. So we need to make sure we remain in the lead, and we've done so as we come across the line. That's first position for us. Had to get aggressive for it, but we got there, and that is it. Third and final dirt rally race done. Let's hope we never ever have to race on the dirt again, please. That would be very greatly appreciated. But anyway, job's done. First place is ours, and the dirt racing is done. Thank goodness that's out of the way. But anyway, that is it for this one. Yeah, glad to get the rally racing out of the way finally, and in future we can get back to something I'm actually half decent at. But until then, I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end and putting up with my rubbish rally driving skills throughout this entire video. And yeah, hopefully next time things will be a little bit better. But thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. But other than that, I will see you next time. Goodbye.